Next, we're going to have Lindsay Wood Davis up. And Lindsay Wood Davis and his family have lived in Monona since 1997. He's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, an environmental advocate, and has canoed. See, that's how nervous I was about saying the right word. I thought it was canoed, but I was like, that's a really I've never said that word. It has canoed on more than 120 Wisconsin rivers and streams. I'm from Kansas. There's no water there, so I don't really. Around here, he perhaps is known as the leader of the team behind our own 98.7 WVMO and the Voice of Monona. Let's give it up for Lindsay Wood Davis, everybody.
A driver's license. To some, it's just a piece of plastic laminated personal identification. But if you're 15 or 16 or 17, it's a magic carpet ride to adventure, a passport to freedom, a way to feed the need for speed. Today, your driver's license from the Wisconsin DMV is filled with important data and a variety of anti-counterfeit technologies. But your driver's license from the Illinois Secretary of State in the 1960s was really nothing more than a piece of heavy stock paper. That was the driver's license that was in my wallet as I stood by the side of Army Trail Road in unincorporated DuPage County. Today, that's a major thoroughfare through Chicago's suburban industrial sprawl. But back in the summer of '67, it was just a two-lane county blacktop, shooting out straight as an arrow out through the cornfields. There was hardly ever any traffic out there at night. And what there was, you could see coming from a long, long way. So it was the perfect place to lay out a quarter-mile drag strip with carefully painted start and finish lines. We were gathered there that night to see if my friend Chip's 55 Chevy would indeed pull a wheelie, get its tires up off the ground in the front, when he nailed that 348 cubic inch Chevy V8, the one with the big Holley carburetors and a hot Iskandrian cam. He was running that night up against his rival, Steve, with a 57 DeSoto and a Fire Dome Hemi. It was old, but it was famously fast. The white handkerchief waved, pedal hit the metal, tires screeched, and yes, that 55 did a wheelie. It was at that exact moment when the lights and sirens on a dozen DuPage County Sheriff's Patrol cars came blasting out of the side roads, blocking Army Trail Road in both directions. There was no way out. They herded us all together in a big group and then brought us out individually so each one of us would have an opportunity to have a come to Jesus chat with a member of the DuPage County Sheriff's Patrol. They were big, they were tall, they had giant flashlights, and they had a uniform that featured a real Smokey the Bear hat, tilted forward at a menacing angle. When it was my turn, the sheriff's deputy asked me to show him my driver's license, which I had already fished out of my wallet. Now, it's important here that I explain to you a little bit of Illinois legal procedure. Back in those days, if you received a ticket, the arresting officer would take your driver's license and staple it to the original of the ticket, and that would be sent off to the courts for adjudication. They love to say adjudication. He would then give you a carbon copy of that ticket to be used as your temporary driver's license until your original was sent back to you after adjudication. You never ever wanted to be put in a position of showing that copy of a previous ticket to a police officer who wanted to talk to you about your next ticket. A common sight back then was seeing an officer holding a driver's license right over the lens of his flashlight. He was looking for staple holes in the corner of your driver's license. proof positive that you had had previous run-ins with the traffic police. The DuPage County Sheriff's deputy did indeed hold my driver's license over the lens of his flashlight. He studied it. He looked up at me. He looked back down at my driver's license. He looked back up at me, his head shot forward, banging the brim of his Smokey the Bear cap off my forehead, and he said in a low, menacing tone, "Son." "Yes, sir." "Son, there's no corner left on the corner of your driver's license." No, sir. Sorry, sir." And that's how I learned to steer a new path and drive ever so slowly the remainder of the summer before my senior year. Thank you.